Alright, today we're going to be talking about the different kinds of grades that pencils have. Now, sometimes when you're trying to choose a lead pencil, you might see some options in the art store that's kind of confusing because what you'll see is grades that say, 5B, 3H, HB, F, and just weird stuff. So you're not quite sure what to choose. Well, this should help kind of elucidate the way you need to think about it. And so naturally, one thing you do know is that pencils have different lead grades. And that's kind of a misnomer because there's actually no lead in pencils whatsoever. Actually, what it is it's graphite and it's clay. And only the graphite really contributes to how dark it is, because the way it works is the more graphite and the less clay, the darker. And the more clay and the less graphite, the lighter it is, the lighter the lines that you can draw. So the way it works is I actually have a set of really cheap, crappy pencils, but they're going to do the job. In the middle of everything, and about the same as an American No. 2 pencil, what you have is the HB grade. And right now the B rubbed off on this, but it did say HB. Right now it just says H and then a smudge, but this is what would be known as HB. So here we have HB right in the middle. Okay, so HB, like I said, is about the same as the American No. 2 pencil. And what I'm going to show you is the European system, because the American system is literally just number 1, number 2, number 2.5, but it's not as extensive as the European, and everything you're going to find in the art stores are really the European grades. So here's HB, and that's right smack dab in the middle. There would be, let's pretend that this is the harder side, so it's the lighter side, and this is going to be the darker side of the page. So when you're thinking about the darker ones, that's going to be more graphite, and the lighter ones are going to be more clay and less graphite. And the only type of pencil I don't have is what's called an F type, and that would go right here between the HB and then what's going to be the first H one, the first hardness. So as we get lighter, H is what would be next. So we go from HB to H, and then from there what we're going to have is we're going to have 2H, 3H, and so on and so forth until you get about, I guess I've seen pencil sets that have up to 10H on there, which is practically, you can't even see it when you put it down on the paper. What I have is I have all the way up to 5H and all the way down to 5B. And so here we are with all the different kinds of ones to see. Again, HBH, 2H, 3H, 4H, and 5H. And now we're going to go darker. And with that comes the B, the 2B, 3B, and again, it's the same old thing. It keeps going down to 4B and to 5B, and then it can go all the way down to 10B as far as I've seen. And that's kind of the pencil grades. Again, darker to lighter. And then what I'm going to do is give you an example of each one. So let me push these up a bit. And we'll start with right in the middle. So here's HB. So I'm going to write it down, HB. I'm going to adjust the camera too so you can see a little bit better. Alright, so here we are. Here is HB. And when you're looking at HB, I'm just going to draw nice and dark and show you what I'm talking about. So there's HB, and the way the light's hitting it, it actually looks a little bit darker, so I'm going to see if I can adjust the angle. There we go. That looks a lot better. So you'll be able to tell here, without the light hitting it too much, kind of the darkness area. So here's HB, and it's nice and dark, and so one of the ones that's just like the No. 2 pencil you used to have to use in school when you're filling out Scantrons and doing other terrible things. So that's what that one is. And then let's go to the darker side before you get to the lighter side. So here's the regular B right here, and that's going to be just a little bit darker than the HB overall. And I'll give a few more camera angles so you don't have to worry about the light hitting it in certain ways. But there's the B, it's just a little bit darker. Here is 2B. And as they get darker, they're also kind of softer, if you can believe that. So they're kind of giving up more graphite, and it's easier for them to do the graphite. So here's 2B, and it's going to be hard to tell a difference, but also when you're working with it, let's say you want the picture to blend better or smudge better, then what you're going to want is you're going to want a higher B number. In fact, by the time we get down to 10B, it's practically charcoal, but it's not charcoal, of course, because there's graphite and lead in it, and not just carbon, because that's what charcoal is. So this one's a little bit darker. And then here is 4B. And that's really soft. I just barely pressed down and it gave a lot of extra. Then finally, we have 5B right here. So overall, they all almost look the same amount of darkness in my opinion. Like except HB, of course, that's when it starts to definitely get lighter. And of course, I know that there's a reflection happening on here, but I'll adjust the paper so you can see them a lot better overall. So then we're going to go along and look at all the H's. So here is from HB, here's H, to H, and again I'm going as dark as I can with these two. I'll also do the same level of hardness and lighter. Look at this thing. This thing's about to fall apart. It's ridiculous. But again, these are crappy pencils, so what are you going to do? All right, so here's 3H. And this one's already a lot harder. You know, it's barely giving up any graphite. It's just filled up with clay, essentially. Here's 4H. You can tell a lot more in the lightness when it comes to the lighter ones than you can on the darker ones. And then here is 5H. So here we go. You can sort of tell that this is the darker one right here, 5B. Then we move down to 4B, 3B, so on and so forth. HB is right in the middle. And then it looks almost like that 2H is darker than H. And I think it was just me not bearing down hard enough on the H. So we go H, and then 2H, 3H, 4H, 5H. When you get down to 10H, it's just ridiculously light. You can really barely see it. That would be good for drafting if you're going to ink over it later. Actually, I might not even do that. I might just do like an 8H for something like that. But that's sort of the scale that you can look at right there. And I'll do some light coloring with it too, so you can sort of tell what that would look like. So let's see, move this on down, you can see it better. Like here's a 5H. Lightly penciled, and then I'm going to do it for all of them, 4H all the way down to 5B. So here's 4H, alright, so let's check these out. So yeah, you can see that if I do kind of like a medium pressure, there it is for the darkest one, and then they just start to get lighter and lighter. So if you had a light hand, you could even use a 5H to draft it if you wanted to ink over with a Sharpie or a pen later. So, well, I hope this video was helpful, and I hope it gives you a little bit more information about the different kinds of pencils that you can get. And my best tip to you is to just experiment with them, because you're going to find different techniques and they work different ways. And for one project you might use one kind, and another project you'll definitely use another kind. Well, keep tuning in. I'll be putting out more videos like this, so please like or subscribe if you liked it, and have a great day.